BBC News with Sue Montgomery. The World Health Organization has warned that Ukraine is facing the largest attack on medical care in Europe since the Second World War. In the 9 months after Russia's invasion began, the agency says it has verified hundreds of attacks on sites, including hospitals. A senior WHO official issued a stark warning about the coming winter in Ukraine. Jessica Parker reports from Kiev.
Dr. Hans Kluge claimed that Ukraine's health system is facing its darkest days in the war so far and that winter would be a formidable test. Damage to energy infrastructure, he warned, was having a knock-on effect on people's health as well as the wider health system. The UN agency also claimed to have verified 703 attacks on Ukraine's health infrastructure since the Russian invasion. But its definition of attack is broad, while officials say it's not up to them to decide whether such incidents were deliberate or who may have committed them.
The United States envoy on war crimes, Beth Van Schaack, has said she's monitoring allegations that Ukrainian troops have committed human rights abuses. A video has been circulated which appears to show Ukrainians shooting dead 12 Russian soldiers after they had surrendered and were lying on the ground. Ms. Van Schaack said the laws of war applied to everyone.
We have seen some reports of potential detainee abuses, custodial abuses. Obviously, the laws of war apply in equal measure to all parties, both the aggressor state and the state that is defending against the aggression. But this is really where the equivalency ends. The scale and nature of abuses at the hands of Russia's forces are so much greater than what we're seeing at the hands of Ukrainian forces.
Rescue workers in Indonesia have been working through the night to look for survivors of a devastating earthquake. More than 160 people are so far known to have died. The governor of West Java province said hundreds of others had been hurt. He said many people were still trapped in the rubble. Nigerian officials say gunmen have kidnapped at least 130 people in a series of attacks in the northwest of the country. The mass kidnappings happened over the weekend when armed men and motorbikes raided several villages. Isaac Khaled reports from Abuja.
Officials say the victims of the mass kidnappings include women, children and the elderly. The government spokesperson told the BBC the kidnappers were apparently fleeing military bombardments on their forest hideouts and that they were trying to use the abductees as human shields. Some of the villages were seized by the gunmen while working on their farms. The widespread insecurity, including kidnappings for ransom, is one of the key campaign issues ahead of Nigeria's elections in February, when a successor to President Muhammadu Buhari will be chosen.
You're listening to the World News from the BBC. The military rulers of Mali have banned all non-governmental organisations that are funded or supported by France from operating in the country. Humanitarian groups are included in the ban. In a statement, the military government said the move followed a decision by France to stop development aid to Mali in response to the presence of paramilitaries from the Russian Wagner Group. Mali's interim prime minister said the Russians were working as instructors. Peace talks between the Colombian government and the ELN rebel group have resumed after more than 3 years. The discussions in Venezuela follow the election of the left-wing president, Gustavo Petro. He came to power in August, promising to end nearly 6 decades of conflict by negotiating with rebels and criminal gangs involved in drug trafficking and illegal mining. The ELN are the last active rebel group in Colombia. The EU's foreign policy chief, Josep Borrell, has warned that violence could erupt following the failure of talks to resolve a dispute between Kosovo and Serbia over vehicle number plates. The authorities in Kosovo want local ethnic Serbs to surrender their Serbian-issued plates. Police say they will start fining people who fail to comply on Tuesday. The Serbian president, Aleksandar Vučić, called for calm.
We've just received the latest intelligence. The situation is very difficult. It is literally on the verge of conflict. My main message will be that we do our best to keep the peace. I'm talking about my message to the Serbs, so that we Serbs are not to blame, so that we do not provoke anyone or anything.
The first full day of matches at the Football World Cup has come to a close. The final game was a 1-1 draw between Wales and the United States. Earlier, the Netherlands scored 2 late goals to beat Senegal, and England thrashed Iran 6-2. BBC News.